After getting drunk, I held my nemesis tightly in my arms. He took out a family heirloom ring and slipped it onto my index finger. Now you're mine. The whole room fell silent instantly. Miss Chi grabbed my wandering hand. Wrong finger, Brother Lang. The guests erupted in chaos, because I and Chi Qingru were sworn enemies. I hate Chi Qingru, hate her to the bone, but no one knows I've been reborn. In my past life, a great fire disfigured my face and voice. Everyone despised me, disgusted by me, but he held me and kept saying, Aiken, don't be afraid. I'm here. That's when I realized, the person I hated most was the one who loved me most in this world. At the moment of death, he held me tightly, his cold lips pressed against my ear, whispering a plea. Ajin. Lop me, Oku? I screamed out my lop with a broken heart, but he could never hear my words again. The day of rebirth was on the red carpet of the awards ceremony. A woman of unparalleled beauty, leaning luxuriously against the car, looking out. The whole world faded away, leaving only him. I threw caution to the wind, rushed across the red carpet towards him, to say the words he never heard. I lop you again. I lop you. The whole scene was stunned, including the viewers watching the Lai Shi trim, because everyone recognized the woman I was holding. Chi Qingru is the eldest daughter of the Chi family in Kyoto, a noble figure, so distant and unreachable, who makes everyone know the danger, yet willingly fall for her. In that instant, the noisy scene fell dead silent. Only the flashbulbs kept popping. Compared to the quiet on site, the comments were especially noisy. What is Shi Chen doing? How dare he kiss President Chi? He's really desperate for fame, isn't he? First, he hit Shuribai before the Lai Shi trim. Then he forcefully kissed Miss Chi. Has she been corrupted by novels, thinking this will make her famous? This eldest Miss Chi is famously not interested in men. She doesn't even care about Shuribai. Who does she think she is? Is she asking for death? I heard she and this eldest miss have never gotten along. This is going to be interesting. I don't care. He kissed my wife. Why doesn't she just die? Don't worry. The eldest miss won't let her off easy. Not to mention the audience. Even my friend and agent, Song Yi, was shocked. He knows the relationship between me and Chi Qingru quite well. You could say they grew up together, but they weren't close childhood friends. On the contrary, their relationship was terribly bad, to the point where wherever Chi Qingru appeared, I needed air freshener to disinfect the area, because I've always liked Himomo. But Himomo hates the adored Chi Qingru, so I hated her by association, and I've hated Chi Qingru since childhood. In that moment, Song Yi and the netizens thought the same. Qin Xiaohong has gone crazy. Not far away, Shuribai was still covering his face. His pupils contracted slightly, but a sarcastic smile appeared in his eyes. Shi Chen dares to provoke Chi Qingru now? Not afraid that crazy woman Chi Qingru will kill him? Chi Qingru's bodyguards exchanged glances. Actually, when I rushed over, they wanted to stop me, but their third miss stopped them with a look. Has this eldest Chi changed his strategy? Or is he using a new trick to frame their third miss? Or did young Master Shi have poison hidden in his mouth, planning to kill their third miss with a kiss? But everyone's SOC was nothing compared to Chi Qingru herself. When Aiken rushed towards me, I thought he was going to embarrass me. I was curious to see what this disowned eldest would do next. What else could he do? Before Chi Qingru could start mocking, she saw me lower my eyes and press my lips precisely against hers. In that moment, Chi Qingru's mind went blank. She stiffened. Is Aiken trying to bite my neck? And bit my mouth instead? Should I say something? To remind Aiken he bit the wrong place. He, Qingru. I lop you, my voice ethereal, as if it would scatter with a gentle breeze. Chi Qingru's heart tightened instantly. She pressed her fingers against my shoulder to push me away. Her action excited the Lai Shi trim audience. Look, she's about to slap him. Chi Qingru looked up at me. My face was full of complex emotions of having regained something lost. Chi Qingru's mood was conflicted, just as everyone waited for a slap to land hard on my face. Chi Qingru gently touched my cheek. What's wrong, Aiken? What happened? Did it rain or something? I lop, what's going on? This Miss Chi, who's not interested in men, shouldn't she be slapping him now? To slap away this man taking advantage of her? Everyone exchanged glances. The flashbulbs kept flashing. The Lai Shi trim comments flew by rapidly. The viewer count kept skyrocketing, until it crashed. My platform, fix it quickly. I can't see the miss slapping her. I won't be able to sleep tonight. At that moment, in my eyes, the whole world had left me. My world was only him. My voice was hoarse. I missed you. My hand was still holding hers. My arms kept tightening, as if afraid he would disappear. Qingru. I missed you so much. Chi Qingru thought to herself. Aiken called me Qingru. Could it be he called the wrong person? Chi Qingru was silent for a moment, then suddenly looked up and looked around. Others who were secretly watching gossip quickly turned away. Some looked at the sky, some at the ground. Chi Qingru knew this wasn't the place to talk. She frowned and grabbed my arm, trying to make me let go of her waist, but her action made me panic. I quickly held her tighter. Don't go, don't leave me, Oku? I'll be good from now on. Really? Chi Qingru's delicate face was full of helplessness. I wasn't planning to leave you. Let's get in the car. I don't believe you. He stubbornly held her. I'm afraid if I let go, you'll disappear. Everything feels too much like a dream. A beautiful dream I'm afraid to let go of. Hey, what can I do for you to let me go? Kiss me once. Qingru, kiss me. Let me know you're real, Oku. I kissed him earlier but didn't feel it was real. Before I could, he pushed me away. I really wanted to be close to her, to feel the warmth of her lips. Don't whisper in my ear, begging me to lop you, so coldly. Wait. Chi Qingru bit her red lips. Aiken's mouth has only ever been good at angering me. But today, something's gotten into him, suddenly being so sweet to me. Is he trying to seduce me? To leave a historical record in front of the entire online audience, so he can mock me later. Evidence of me being seduced by beauty. Chi Qingru's red lips curled slightly. Too bad I, Chi Qingru, have never been afraid of seduction since I was young. Thinking this, Chi Qingru laughed. Her slender fingers touched my cheek. Then she looked up and hugged me. The lychee trim platform recovered just as Chi Qingru looked up. In the shot, at the end of the red carpet, stood a stunningly beautiful woman and a handsome man. This scene was as beautiful as a fairy tale, a prince and princess embracing. Impatient netizens hadn't even seen clearly before they started posting comments to claiming kinship. Oh my god. They hit the trending topics hard with their mouths. Exploded in every direction. Some thought I had caught the eldest Miss Chi's leverage and threatened her. Some thought I had seduced her, and some thought I used voodoo to blind Chi Qingru. In short, no one thought that Chi Qingru genuinely wanted to kiss me. In the eyes of netizens, Chi Qingru and I were parallel lines that should never intersect. One in heaven, one on earth. Someone made a bold claim. Just wait. When the eldest miss comes to her senses, Sure Chen will definitely die a miserable death. If he doesn't die, I'll do a 360-degree handstand and eat shit. While the internet was in an uproar, in the spacious back seat of a car, I was sitting next to Chi Qingru, staring at him eagerly. Chi Qingru sat there lazily, her slender fingers holding her phone. Annoyed, she hung up. After who knows how many gossip calls, she simply turned it off, then turned to look at me. When she spoke, her tone was light but cold. Come on. Did you lose your memory or have a memory glitch? Did you mistake me for someone else? I didn't mistake you. I quickly shook my head, instinctively reaching out to hug her. Chi Qingru's eyelashes fluttered. No hugging. Sit still and behave. I finally got her to let me go. And now you want to hug again? There's no audience now. Watching Chi Qingru's face show a hint of displeasure. What's with this habit of wanting to hug me whenever you speak? Did he do this with Himomo too? I stopped my reaching hand. My fingers, which had almost touched her clothes, retracted, looking at her with pleading eyes. Chi Qingru looked at me. Pitiful lie, someone she had abandoned. Something's off. My nemesis. Something's off. Chi Qingru bit her lip. Suppressing the confusion in her eyes, she asked, not mistaken? Then do you know who I am? I said firmly. You're Chi Qingru, then added softly. My Qingru. Chi Qingru's heart skipped a beat instantly. She suddenly placed the back of her hand on my forehead and said thoughtfully, fever making you delirious? Her small hand was a bit cold, strangely reminding me of the coldness of his embrace at the end. I clenched my fists and said softly, I don't have a fever. Chi Qingru withdrew her hand, crossed her arms and looked at me arrogantly. Spit it out. What crazy idea have you come up with to torment me this time? Chi Qingru suddenly thought of something. If I remember correctly, tomorrow there's a banquet at the Sure family. I heard that crazy woman Himomo bought a ring. She'll probably propose to Shuribai. The He and Sure families also intend to continue the alliance. I was kicked out of the Sure family a month ago because Shuribai was kidnapped and almost killed. All evidence pointed to me. Sure's parents were deeply disappointed in me and publicly announced they were cutting ties with me. My engagement with Himomo was also called off. Chi Qingru's smile faded. Her gaze towards me became more distant. Sure-chan, you're not trying to use me to get to Himomo, are you? Before getting out of the car, I saw Aiken hit Shuribai. At that moment, I was a bit worried. Aiken has always had a bad temper, but he's never been this reckless in public. At the time, I thought Aiken did it for Himomo. That's why he couldn't control himself. I quickly got out of the car to back him up, but instead, I gave her a chance to cause me trouble. Thinking about those 2 light kisses, Chi Qingru's eyes grew colder. Sure Chen, for Himomo. You're really going all out. Should I just throw this idiot out of the car? I asked her in confusion. Who is Himomo? I don't know her. Chi Qingru was silent for 2 seconds, then reached out and tapped the shoulder of Wenjing, who was driving. Go to the 10th hospital. The psychiatric hospital. Wenjing was silent for a moment. Det, 3rd miss. Then without any hesitation, she immediately turned the steering wheel, heading towards the 10th hospital. I frowned deeply. Oh no. Chi Qingru might actually think I'm crazy. I've come out of the days of rebirth now. And I'm sure I've come back. But if I pretend to have amnesia, it might work to gain her trust. I don't care about those people anyway. I only care about my Qingru. In this world, I only need to remember him. Only need to lop him. Chi Qingru spoke softly in my ear. I'll give you one last chance. Tell me honestly what you're trying to do. Otherwise, once we enter the 10th hospital, you won't be able to get out. The car was dimly lit. I turned to look at her cold, delicate features. Before I was burned in my past life, I also thought his gaze was cold. Lie an eternal, frozen pool of ice water. Only later did I realize, beneath the ice was a boiling passion. Her lop was so intense it could almost make the ice water boil. I spoke calmly, softly. I'm not trying to do anything. I just want to lop you. Chi Qingru's deliberately calm gaze shattered instantly. Want to lop me? How do you want to lop me? She bit her red lip and sneered. Sure Chen. Do you think I'm stupid? Should I remind you? When we met in the club lobby this morning. What did you say? I was full of question marks. Why a flashback? That was so long ago. Let me think. I tried hard to remember for a while. I did meet him in the club lobby this morning. He got out of the elevator as I got in. We passed each other. I said to Songyun beside me, I need to spray some air freshener. The elevator stinks. And then I didn't forget to provoke him. What bad luck. Thinking of this, my eyes flickered. Chi Qingru let out a light laugh. Look at you, looking so guilty. I guess you remember now. The next second, my eyes were clear, as if I really didn't remember anything. No, I really don't remember. What did I say to you then? Did I say to you? You're really beautiful. I really lie you. I really lop you. Chi Qingru suddenly felt her hands itch. She reached out and pinched me hard. Stop playing dumb with me. That won't work on me. That woman Himomo used to fall for that. I rubbed my ear and asked in a flippant tone. Then what works on Qingru? Chi Qingru snorted. Nothing works. Before she could finish, I leaned slightly closer to her lips. Chi Qingru snapped back to reality and pushed me away. Her face flushed, she said through gritted teeth. I looked deeply into her eyes. A playful glint flashed in my peach blossom eyes. If that's still not enough, I gently wrapped my arm around her waist and asked softly with hopeful eyes. Then can I let you kiss me back? Wenjing, who was driving, pricked up her ears. Oh my god, Det. Third miss, just kiss him. Your spring has finally arrived. Chi Qingru's gaze uncontrollably fell on my lips. She bit her red lip. Let me kiss you back. The word det was already on the tip of her tongue, but when she finally spoke, it was through gritted teeth. In your dreams. The sparkle in my eyes instantly dimmed. I hung my head to show my displeasure. Chi Qingru suppressed her racing heart. Don't let Aiken fool me. Does he think he can seduce me like this? She subtly moved back. Stay away from me. Her voice carried a hint of jealousy she didn't notice herself. Who taught you this? Himomo? I frowned and said, I told you, I don't know Himomo. Why do you keep bringing him up? Who is he? Besides, what I know, you taught me. Himomo doesn't lie me anyway. Chi Qingru's patience was wearing thin. She said displeasedly, Sure Chen. How long are you going to keep pretending? My mood sank. Everything I said is true. I only lop you. I only want to lop you. Why won't you believe me? Why is Chi Qingru so hard to deal with now? I thought if I confessed to her, she would accept it. Does she not lop me yet at this time? Chi Qingru's playful eyes stared at me for a few seconds. You don't know Himomo? I nodded. Chi Qingru curled her lips and said resentfully, Only lop me? Only want to lop me? I nodded heavily again. Chi Qingru thought of something and let out a mischievous laugh. Fine. It's not that I can't believe you, but you have to prove it to me. How do I prove it? I blinked my peach blossom eyes and smiled. Does Qingru think just being close isn't enough? Do you want to spend more time alone with me? Wen Jing, gripping the steering wheel, was still heading to the Shi family's place. This young master is quite something. My third miss is so innocent. Can she handle him? Sure enough, Qi Qingru's face was redder than my earlobe, but she managed to keep her composure, and called out through gritted teeth. Shi Chen. I looked at her with innocent eyes. Qi Qingru suppressed the urge to throw me out, and poked my forehead with her fingertip. Get all those messy thoughts out of your head. I reluctantly opened my mouth. Qi Qingru took a deep breath to calm herself down, then instructed Wen Jing to go back to Shi Chen. Sichuan Hoteo is under the Qi family, and it's also the Hoteo hosting today's awards ceremony. After the awards, there will be a celebration party at the Hoteo. The reason Qi Qingru agreed to go to the awards ceremony today was because the Qi family was the organizer. Of course, the most important reason was that she knew I would be there. I originally went because I was afraid Aiken would be bullied. Sure enough, good intentions are never rewarded. This bastard doesn't deserve my kindness. Qi Qingru gritted her teeth as she looked at me. Wen Jing respectfully turned the car around. I asked in confusion, going back for what? Qi Qingru leaned back in her seat, resuming her lazy posture from when she first got in the car, but her tone carried a hint of sarcasm. Of course, to give you a chance to perform well, to prove how sincere your so-called liking is. I frowned slightly. I still remember my past life. At the celebration party at Shiyu Hoteo, I was set up. When I woke up, I was beside Qi Qingru, a complete mess. At that time, I was extremely broken. My first reaction was to drive Qi Qingru away. She was quite calm then, saying she would marry me. I coldly told her to leave. If I remember correctly, that drugged drink was handed to me by Himomo himself. I looked at Qi Qingru in the dim light. She closed her eyes, pretending to sleep. Her delicate face was especially charming. Influenced by Himomo before, I always thought Qi Qingru was pretentious and hard to approach. Only later did I understand. It wasn't that I didn't want to get close to him. I was just afraid to get close to him. When we returned to Shi Chen, the awards ceremony was still ongoing. Those too lazy to watch the awards were gathered in the banquet hall, including many wealthy young masters and ladies who came to join the fun. But the atmosphere at the moment was off. Everyone was subtly looking towards Himomo. After all, the lapdog who had chased after him since childhood had run off with his nemesis. And that nemesis was Qi Qingru, who outshone him in every way. So the second-generation rich kids didn't dare to joke around, afraid of angering Himomo. Himomo was indeed very unhappy. He leaned back in a single sofa, flipping through his phone irritably. The 6DO of me and Qi Qingru on the trending topics. He watched it several times. The more he watched, the more he wanted to kill me. He threw his phone aside, and said coldly to the person beside him, "Have these trending topics taken down?" The person beside him was her best friend. Su Tian was also looking at the trending topics. Hearing this, Su Tian was a bit surprised. Why take them down? You're not feeling so re for Shi Chen being criticized, are you? Himomo glared at him. What good does it do me to see him criticized? Su Tian clicked his tongue. It's no good for you. But it's good for Shuri Bai. The worse Shi Chen's reputation gets now, the better Shuri Bai's reputation becomes. Since you lie Shuri Bai, why do you care about Shi Chen? Himomo became even more displeased. Are you Oku? Su Tian was stunned for a moment. When did I ever say I lie 11 Bai? Su Tian was full of questions. Hey Himomo, what do you mean by that? Don't tell me you lie Shi Chen. Himomo didn't say a word, but not saying anything was the biggest problem. Ah. Su Tian quickly lowered her voice and asked, Momo, you've been so close with 11 Bai these past few years. I've never seen you be nigh to Shi Chen either. Ask the girls around you. Who thought you liked 11 Bai? Everyone treated 11 Bai lie your boyfriend. Oh cool. Now you're saying you lie Shi Chen. He couldn't help but complain. What nonsense are you talking about? Himomo glanced at him. What do you know? He frowned. It's all because Shi Chen has such a bad temper. I'm only doing this so Shi Chen can understand. Don't think that just because he's the eldest son of the Shi family, he can throw a tantrum in front of me. Himomo gently took a sip of red wine. He needs to know his place and learn to please me. Besides, the Shi family has kicked him out now. In the end, he'll have no choice but to come to me. Will he still dare to act up with me then? So I'm just teaching him a lesson. Su Tian was dumbfounded. So all these years, you've been warm to 11 Bai, and cold to Shi Chen, just to teach her, to make her more obedient? What an absolute scumbag. She was so shocked she wanted to roll her eyes. Aren't you supposed to propose to 11 by tomorrow? Mo said slowly and deliberately. My husband will only be Shi Chen. Su Tian was really speechless. After a while, she reminded Mo, hey, but it seems like he hasn't come back to you yet. He went to Qi Qingru instead. Mo toyed with the glass in her hand. Don't try to outsmart yourself and end up losing everything, and end up training a husband for someone else. So, he's still not properly trained. He's not obedient enough yet. He probably heard that I'm going to propose to 11 by tomorrow. That's why he hit 11 by and then went to Qi Qianro, thinking that would make me change my mind. He let out a scoff. Shi Chen doesn't even think. Qi Qingru knows he's my lapdog. Would she even look at him? Asking for trouble. Mo took a sip of wine, and said nonchalantly, don't worry. It won't be long before he comes back. Bowing and scraping, begging me. A few seconds after he finished speaking, the heavy doors of the banquet hall slowly opened. Everyone in the hall looked over. Their expressions stiffened slightly. A woman with an overwhelming presence walked in unhurriedly, and then everyone saw me walking in behind her. Mo suddenly sat up straight, staring intently at me. Qi Qingru smiled gently at Mo, then interlaced her fingers with mine. The two of us sat down on an empty sofa. I don't know if Qi Qingru did it on purpose or not, but we ended up sitting right across from Mo and the others, with a distance of about 10 meters between us. The banquet hall fell silent for a moment. Mo spoke in a coquettish tone. Ah Chen, come here quickly. Qi Qingru smiled charmingly, lazily leaning back against the sofa. She said gently, do you want to go over? As she spoke, she played with my hand. I shook my head and said in a confused tone, I don't know her. I'm not going. Everyone heard these words, including Mo. Mo's face twitched. Shi Chen, I'll give you one more chance. Come here now. Qi Qingru's eyes flickered. She pouted and leaned close to my ear. Shi Chen, don't you want to prove you lot me? Her warm breath made my heart race. She let out a soft snort. So, do you dare to kiss me in front of Mo? As soon as she finished speaking, she saw my eyes light up. Qi Qingru suddenly had a bad feeling. Sure enough, the next second, I kissed her without hesitation. Gasps suddenly came from all around. The banquet hall grew even quieter. How dare he? Is this the first time today? Even if he really wants to provoke Mo, he shouldn't push it too far, and risk completely angering Mo. A woman's scoff sounded in my ear. Qi Qingru snapped back to reality. What does Miss he think she's doing? Qi Qingru glanced out of the corner of her eye. Mo had stood up. She seemed to be heading our way, but she was stopped by another woman. The one stopping Mo was Qi Qingru's friend, Song Wanwan. When Qi Qingru came in, she and her friends wanted to come over, but seeing me following behind, they decided to wait and see first. I saw the trending topic. I just regret not being able to see the excitement in person. I didn't expect to see a live version here. Hee. Song Wanwan was surprised but also kept an eye on Mo. Sure enough, Song Wanwan didn't hesitate. She directly blocked Mo, joking. My dear Qingru's good fortune. Can I let that crazy woman Mo ruin it? Absolutely not. Mo curled her lips in a mocking smile. Move aside. Song Wanwan snorted coldly. You say move, and I'll move? Don't I have any face to save? Mo said angrily. I'll say it again, move aside. Song Wanwan shrugged, a mischievous grin on her face. I won't. What can you do about it? Humph. Mo frowned deeply. She raised her hand and pointed at Song Wanwan's face. You, Song Wanwan took a step back. Stop pointing fingers. I hate it when people point at me. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. No one else dared to breathe. It was only then that I understood. So this is what Qingru meant by proving it. She doesn't believe I lop her. She still thinks I'm using her. She thought I wouldn't dare to kiss her in front of Mo. Hey, didn't expect that, did you? I'd do it willingly. Qi Qingru looked at the scene and spoke softly. Enough. Silence fell instantly. A dozen people looked at Qi Qingru. Qi Qingru's voice was cold. Don't dirty my place. The others felt as if cold water had been thrown on them. After all, this was the Qi family's territory. Causing trouble here would have endless consequences. Some people looked at Mo, silently asking what to do next. Mo's gaze was fixed on me. Su Tian had an idea and spoke to me. Shi Chen, don't you see someone bullying Mo? Why don't you come and help? Everyone turned to look at me in unison, including Qi Qingru. I said, enough. Do you really want to put on a show in front of so many people? I was looking down, pretending not to hear Su Tian's words. Qi Qingru pursed her lips. Did I hit the mark just now? Mo had reached her limit. From the moment Ah Chen entered the banquet hall, he hadn't even glanced at me. He wasn't like this before. As long as I was around. His gaze was always on me. She suddenly felt a bit panicked, as if something was slipping out of her control. Emo gritted her teeth and spoke. Sure Chin, you've had your fun, now come here. I can let today's matter slide. Hearing her tone, as if she were granting a favor, I looked up at her. This was the first time I looked at her tonight. I looked for 2 seconds, then I got up and walked towards Himomo. The displeasure in Himomo's eyes faded. A hint of smugness appeared. I knew it. Sure Chen was just trying to anger and provoke me. Everyone exchanged glances, no one spoke. Only when I walked over, did they instinctively make way? Song Wan hesitated for a moment. But Himomo, I can come over. What a mess this is. She gave Himomo a dirty look, shook her head helplessly and stepped aside. This man has terrible taste. How is Qingru inferior to that brat from the He family? Qingru's cheeks puffed up slightly. She pursed her lips and looked away, refusing to look at anyone. Her toes tapped lightly on the ground, restraining the urge to pull me back. If I say one harsh word, you make a face. But when someone is mean to you, you still go running to them. You big idiot. I should be used to this after all these years. It's just that Chen's performance today was too perfect. It made me a bit dazed, and I actually felt a little happy, thinking that Chen was finally willing to look at me. Forget it. Let's just treat this as the last time I help him. Qingru put down her glass and stood up. No longer looking at me, she turned and walked away. She had only taken 2 steps when she heard a commotion behind her. Sure Chen was still holding Himomo, looking incredulous. She turned back to see Himomo pointing at me, asking in disbelief, say that again? I'll say it 100 times. I don't lie you. I don't think much of you. I turned my head and looked at Qingru with a bright smile, asking, is that Himomo? I told her I don't think much of her, and to stop looking for trouble. Is that Qingru? Qingru's heart skipped a beat. Has Chen really lost his memory? Seeing her not speak, I had an idea. A plan came to mind. I pretended to be hurt and reached out my hand to her. I think my leg cramped up. Qingru. Come and help me. The room was dead silent. Qingru silently looked at me for a few seconds. Then, under everyone's gaze, she walked towards me. She stopped in front of me without saying a word, and directly put my arm over her shoulder, supporting me. I looked at her with starry eyes, smiling brightly. Himomo gritted her teeth and looked up, staring at us fiercely. Qingru, where are you taking Chen? He's mine. Are you deaf? I have a bad feeling. If I let Qingru take Chen away, I will really lose him. Qingru just tilted her head to look at her. The coldness in her eyes dissipated, but a pleasant smile curled on her lips. From now on, he's mine. Chen chose to come to me. Whether he's lost his memory or using me, he has no room for regret. Qingru smiled like a flower, supporting me, who had willingly walked to her. She left directly. Qingru still took me to the hospital. No other reason. Just to see if Chen really had something wrong with his head. After getting in the car, I couldn't help but want to lean against her. Qingru was still cold and said, sit still. The corner of my mouth twitched. Qingru, don't you lie me holding you? You're so cold now, Qingru. Bad woman. Qingru leaned back in her seat and asked lightly, did you used to cling to Himomo like this too? Lie you have no bones. Always leaning on people. I frowned and muttered under my breath. Why do you keep bringing her up? Qingru just turned her head to look out the window. Too lazy to speak anymore. Do I want to bring up Himomo? Have you really forgotten how many years you liked Himomo? At the hospital, Shinro arranged a full trek-up for me, even including a psychiatric evaluation. I was speechless. If a trek-up will put Shinro's mind at ease, then let's do it. The other tests were fine, but when it came to the psychiatric evaluation, I had to answer a lot of questions. No matter what the doctor asked me, I said I didn't know. Only when he asked about Qingru did my eyes light up. After the evaluation, the doctor had a complicated expression. Finally, he wrote 3 words on the diagnosis report and handed it to Qingru, who was waiting outside. With a strange smile, he placed the report in Qingru's hands. Rest assured, her mental state is normal. No major issues. Just a small problem. I followed behind the doctor. So the doctor knew Qingru too. The doctor turned back and smiled at me, then turned to Qingru and said, I'm busy. Make yourselves at home. I quickly said, thank you. I watched him turn and go back to his office. Then I walked up to Chi Qingru. With an innocent look, I asked her, "What did the doctor say?" Chi Qingru glanced at the diagnosis. With a complicated expression, she handed it to me. "See for yourself." I took it and looked at the diagnosis at the bottom. Physical and mental examination. No organic disease. Emotions affected by relationship issues. Mentally sound. I was a bit confused. What does that mean? Chi Qingru sighed. "Ah, it means you're in LOP." I nodded, looking overjoyed. This doctor is quite perceptive. Chi Qingru felt complicated. She read it from beginning to end. There was indeed nothing wrong physically. If he was deliberately pretending to get close to me, then what was Ah Chen's real gone? If it wasn't because of Mo, what else could make Ah Chen go to such lengths to actively approach me, whom he supposedly hates so much? If he wasn't pretending, can a person really change so completely in just one day? Chi Shinro couldn't help but reach out and rub my head twice. No bumps. She asked me tentatively, "Did you get your head caught in the elevator door this morning?" I looked at her speechlessly. "You could be more obvious with your sarcasm." I asked her a bit helplessly, "Why can't you believe it? That I really lie you?" Chi Qingru withdrew her hand and looked me in the eye. "What do you think? Would you believe it?" "That's true. I used to not believe that Chi Qingru really liked me. Until that big fire." I spoke seriously. "Actually, I've always liked you. It's not lie I just fell for you today." "Always?" Chi Qingru's eyelashes fluttered, a bit confused about what always meant. I spoke earnestly. "It's just that I didn't dare to get close to you before. You're so good, and you were always so distant with me. I always felt I wasn't good enough." My tone was a bit dejected. Chi Qingru frowned, both annoyed and amused. "Sure Chen, don't be the one to accuse me first. You're the one who's always been cold to me." I started to argue. "That was because I couldn't have you." Lop turned to hate. Chi Qingru gritted her teeth even harder. "Sweet talk won't work. Don't try to change the subject." The corner of my mouth twitched. "Ah, can't you just let me win this once? I'm seriously trying to confess here." Chi Qingru was silent for a moment. Suppressing the irritation in her heart, she turned and walked away. I stood still, watching her back. Seeing that she had no intention of stopping, I called out to her, "Qingru." Chi Qingru stopped and turned to look at me. I blinked and softened my tone. "Qingru, my leg hurts." Chi Qingru knew immediately that I was trying to be difficult again. She snorted, "Then don't move. Come or don't, it's up to you." She turned and walked away. I stood there without moving, not saying a word. Chi Qingru was almost at the elevator door. She closed her eyes, then turned around without hesitation and walked back. Gritting her teeth, she whispered in my ear, "Sure Chen, I must have owed you in a past life." I grinned, put my hand on her shoulder, and leaned in to gently brush her cheek. Then I whispered, "No, it's me who owes you, my Qingru." The irritation in Chi Qingru's heart dissipated a little. She snorted coldly. "You owe me. Shouldn't you be carrying me then? Have you ever seen a debtor bossing around the creditor?" I answered her very seriously. "Normally speaking, it's not easy for a creditor to collect a debt. The bigger the debt, the harder it is to collect. So the creditor has to coax and pamper the debtor. Only then can the debt be slowly recovered." Chi Qingru snorted, "What a load of nonsense." I leaned closer to her ear and whispered, "The debt I owe you is huge, so you have to stay with me for a lifetime. That way, I'll have a lifetime to slowly repay my debt to my Qingru. Oku, a lifetime?" The two of us stepped into the elevator. She looked up and stared at me intently. "Sure Chen, do you know what a lifetime means?" "Of course I do." I looked into her eyes deeply, and answered word by word. "A lifetime means never leaving, growing old together." Chi Qingru and I lie in the same apartment building now. She's upstairs, I'm downstairs. After I was kicked out of the Sher family, I had nowhere to go for a while. Song Yi rented the apartment for me. Later, I found out that the apartment actually belonged to Chi Qingru. She had secretly arranged for it to be rented to Song Yi at a low price. Chi Qingru took me home. "Can I really not come and stay at your place?" Chi Qingru just gave me a look. "Behave yourself." I just said, "Oh," and walked home. Looking back every few steps, Chi Qingru stood at the elevator entrance, watching me with a look of disgust. I reluctantly went inside. After making sure I had closed the door, the disgust on Chi Qingru's face instantly turned into joy. The corners of her mouth curled up, then she suppressed it. What a thrilling night. Emotions were constantly fluctuating. Until now. Ah Chen's words in the hospital elevator, "never leaving," and "growing old together," are still echoing in my ears, but it still feels unreal. Am I dreaming? I don't know if my actions, my words caused the longing he had suppressed for years to suddenly burst forth. God knows how much I was restraining myself just now to suppress the urge to take Achin home. Chi Qingru finally took one last look at my closed door, then turned and went upstairs to the bathroom to wash up. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through Chi Qingru's hand. She cried out in surprise. The toothbrush in her hand fell. She looked at her hand. There was no mark on her skin, but the pain was still there. Chi Qingru turned off the faucet, left the bathroom and sat down on the sofa. She raised her hand and looked at the back of it. The pain was slowly fading. Chi Qingru leaned back on the sofa and closed her eyes. Just then, the doorbell rang. She opened her eyes, and immediately saw that cheeky face on the 6DO doorbell. Chi Qingru sighed helplessly. Can't Ah-Chen give me a break? Then she smiled wryly to herself. Oh well, wasn't I hoping he would come? Chi Qingru walked over and opened the door, saying helplessly, Shurchin, do you know what time it is? She saw that I was still wearing the same clothes as before, wondering what I had been doing all that time. I stood at the door and pitifully held out my hand to her. Qingru, my hand was scratched by Mauchio. The scratch on my hand was very obvious. Chi Qingru stared at my wound. Her heart skipped a beat for a moment. Isn't this exactly where I felt the pain? What a coincidence. She snapped back to reality and asked if I had treated it. I shook my head. I don't know how. Chi Qingru frowned. You keep a cat, and you don't know how to treat a wound? That's right, Mauchio is my cat. I've had him for 4 years. When I left the Sure family, he was the only thing I took. I answered matter-of-factly, but I've never been scratched by a cat before. Isn't it normal not to know? Chi Qingru was too lazy to argue with me anymore. She grabbed my wrist and pulled me into the room. A hint of amusement flashed in my eyes. Chi Qingru suddenly turned around. I blinked, and instantly looked pitiful again. What's wrong? Your acting is really good. Chi Qingru secretly clicked her tongue and pulled me into the kitchen. She turned on the faucet, held my hand under the running water, letting the clean water wash over my wound. I sucked in a breath. The wound stung from the stimulation. Chi Qingru's hand holding mine trembled slightly. She had a vague bad feeling, because at that moment, the back of her hand also felt a slight pain. She stared intently at my wound. The wound wasn't deep, just a slight scratch, with a tiny bit of blood. A trace of blood. I took a slow breath, pushing down the strange thoughts. Chi Qingru spoke softly. I'll have someone come over to give you a rabies shot. I nodded. The two of us were standing very close now. I lowered my head slightly, and saw his frowning little face. I looked down at her furrowed brows and eyes. My heart stirred. Chi Qingru felt uncomfortable under my gaze. She casually pulled her clothes together. I glanced at him. You cheapskate. Chi Qingru was silent for a moment, then asked me curiously, why did your cat scratch you? You've had that cat for so many years. Why would it suddenly scratch you? And it's a male cat I personally took to get neutered. I muttered under my breath. I don't know. I think there's something dirty in my house. Chi Qingru was a bit speechless. Achin is getting more and more ridiculous. He can make up anything. I kept going. I looked at him seriously. He might have seen something. That's why he went crazy, Qingru. I don't even dare go back now, really. He's so fierce now. He goes crazy the moment he sees me. I'm really a bit guilty. I feel Lai Mauchio noticed something's wrong with me. Ching, Granny Rong, listening to me make this up. So what? I looked at him with hopeful eyes. So can I stay at your place for one night? Chi Qingru leaned in to look at me. Sure Chen, how come I'm only now discovering you have such thick skin? I swore solemnly. Everything I said is true. If you don't believe me, you can come downstairs and see for yourself. Chi Qingru looked at me for a few seconds, suddenly thought of that strange pain, nodded. Oh cool. After he said that, he walked towards the living room. It's almost rinsed. Dry your hands first. I'll disinfect it for you. She took out the first aid kit. Holding my hand, she used a cotton swab dipped in iodine to apply it to the wound. The moment it touched, there was a stinging pain on my hand. Chi Qingru's hand holding the cotton swab trembled slightly. The feeling of sharing my pain became clearer and clearer. He looked up at me. Does it hurt? I nodded and said, just a little. Chi Qingru of course knew it was just a little. She took a deep breath and threw the cotton swab away. Let's go. Let's check your place. Arriving at the downstairs entrance, I hesitated. Then I hid behind Chi Qingru. Chi Qingru turned back to look at me helplessly. This is your home. What are you hiding from? My expression was complicated. He's really fierce. When I got home earlier, Mauchio was sleeping on the sofa, a fluffy ball all curled up. I sat down next to him, stared blankly at him for a while, gently rubbed his fluffy head with my fingers. I hadn't seen him for such a long time. In that big fire in my past life, Mauchio didn't make it out. Suddenly he woke up. First, he rubbed his head against my palm. Just as he was about to jump onto me, his round eyes suddenly widened. Almost instantly, his fur stood on end and he hissed. I didn't have time to pull my hand back, and got a scratch wound. I hurriedly stood up and backed away. Mauchio arched his back and stared at me fiercely. It looked like he was about to pounce on me. Instinctively, I ran upstairs to Chi Qingrou's house. Now the door was open, and the lights inside were still on. Seeing that I didn't seem to be lying, Chi Qingrou walked towards the living room first. Stepping into the entryway, he saw the long-haired cat in the living room. It was running in circles on the living room floor. Chi Qingrou turned his head and looked at me incredulously. "This is what you call very fierce?" I was just about to speak. Mauchio heard the sound and looked over. The cat that had been playing happily just now instantly bristled again. Arching its back and baring its teeth, it was about to pounce on me. Instinctively, I grabbed Chi Qingrou's small hand. I reflexively stood in front of her. I said helplessly, "See, this is it." Mauchio was about to charge over. Chi Qingrou pulled me to avoid him. He shouted coldly, "Mauchio, stop." I held tightly onto Chi Qingrou's hand. "He's a cat. Can he understand you? We should just leave quickly. Tomorrow I'll have someone take him to the vet." Just then, Mauchio looked at Chi Qingrou. He was clearly stunned for a moment, and then the ferocity in his eyes actually disappeared. His bristled fur instantly smoothed down. It was like he had seen something, a long-lost family member. He rubbed against Chi Qingrou's leg, meowing, acting spoiled and stubborn. Chi Qingrou thought his behavior was a bit like mine. He let out a soft laugh, his voice becoming gentler. "I think he's more obedient than you." I was speechless and complained. "This ungrateful furball. I raised him with so much effort. How could he be like this?" Chi Qingrou curled his lips. "All right, let go of me first." I held her small hand and didn't let go. Chi Qingrou turned his head to look at me. I leaned close to her face, gently touched her cheek. Then I withdrew my hand. Chi Qingrou felt a hint of dissatisfaction inside, waiting for Achin to steal another kiss from me. Chi Qingrou bent down and picked up the cat that was rubbing against her leg, sat down on the sofa and put the cat on her lap. Her fingers stroked over Mauchio's head. She carefully checked to see if anything was wrong with him. Mauchio was very docile in her arms, quietly lying there, letting her pet and examine him. I stood to the side, watching the now docile Mauchio. I wanted to walk over, but the moment I got within 3 steps, Mauchio suddenly lifted his head and bared his teeth at me. I froze. Chi Qingrou frowned. He gently tapped Mauchio on the head. "Who are you being fierce at?" Mauchio meowed again, and then slumped down as if deflated, but his eyes were fixed on me, still not very friendly. Chi Qingrou looked up at me standing not far away. My face showed frustration. Chi Qingrou's fingers curled slightly. I checked him over. "There's nothing wrong," I said dejectedly. "Then why is he so mean to me? It's like he doesn't recognize me as his owner anymore." Chi Qingrou's eyes lowered. "Maybe it's not the cat's problem, but the problem is the man in front of me." Chi Qingrou isn't a superstitious person, but I've also heard cats are extremely sensitive animals. What did Chang do to make him so uneasy? Or is the person in front of me really the Achin I know? This thought made her heart race. Chi Qingrou threw the cat from her lap onto the floor, gently patted his bottom, told him to go play somewhere else. Mauchio didn't leave. Instead, he jumped back onto the sofa, and curled up next to her. Chi Qingrou ignored him and looked up at me. "Sure, Chen." He reached out his hand to me. "Come here." I stepped forward and took her hand. Following her pull, I sat down next to her. Chi Qingrou leaned her body closer to mine. My eyes widened slightly, a bit confused. "Huh, Qingrou, this is the first time today he's actively come close to me." Her fingertip gently tapped my chin, signaling me to look at him. Chi Qingrou's voice carried a hint of shyness. "Don't move. Let me see." Their faces were extremely close, so close they could see the reflection in each other's pupils. I asked in confusion, "What are you looking at?" Chi Qingrou's small hand gently caressed my face. She looked at me, her clear eyes reflecting her own image. "Now I'm sure the man sitting next to me is Achin." He blushed a little as he looked at me. "Achin, there's no one else now." I didn't catch the implication of his words. "So?" Chi Qingrou slowly leaned closer to me. Her voice slightly hoarse, she asked, "Do I still want to kiss?" Her breath was sweet, and her lips were very close when she spoke, almost touching my lips. My breath caught, because I saw the concern and seriousness in his eyes. I was quite familiar with this look. In my past life, he looked at me the same way. After that day, the related videos were exposed. Just as everyone was guessing about my relationship with Qi Qingru, someone else leaked information that Qi Qingru was preparing to get engaged to the second young master Su of the Jing family. The two families had already agreed before the new year. Second young master Su, Su Mu, even posted on Weibo, saying something pointedly, "A wicked person will eventually bring about their own destruction." Everyone understood that this was directed at me. For a time, public opinion was full of malice towards me, even though the trending topic was quickly taken down, and Su Mu deleted his pot and apologized. Qi Qingru personally posted on Weibo to clarify, saying that he was the one actively pursuing me, and that he had no relationship with Su Mu. But by then, almost no one was willing to believe it. I was surrounded by public opinion, under immense pressure. Even my parents from the Sure family were cold towards me. Himome, needless to say, the look in his eyes towards me was full of distance and rejection. I was in a lot of pain during that time. The painful emotions had nowhere to go, so I could only vent them all on Qi Qingru. Back then, he looked at me like this, and back then, I mistook that concern for malice. It was only much later that I understood. The persistence and gentleness in his eyes was a liking that had been suppressed for many years. She had liked me for a very, very long time. Qi Qingru saw me suddenly spacing out. She gently bit her lip and asked, "Don't want to kiss anymore?" I snapped back to reality. My hands instinctively hugged her. "No, it's not that." "Then kiss?" His voice carried an unconscious hint of shyness. "I'll let He kiss me." His words made my ears burn. But just a moment ago, I suddenly thought of my past life, knowing I had to clarify this matter first. I reached out and gently pushed her. When she looked over with a hint of annoyance, I asked very directly, "Are you and Su Menghe going to get engaged?" Qi Qingru was stunned. "Who is Su Mu?" I was full of helplessness. Actually, he had explained it to me last time, that he had no relationship with Su Mu. His family had indeed arranged for them to meet once before, and he had clearly refused at that time. But today, I went viral on the trending list with Qi Qingru. Now everyone is guessing about our relationship, although I wasn't set up by others this time, but following the process of my past life. Tomorrow, the news of Qi Qingru and Su Mu's engagement will hit the trending list. Su Mu will also pot again. So this time, I need to handle this matter first. I can't wait for public opinion to ferment before fixing it. Most people nowadays are unwilling to believe in pot event clarifications. I glared at him, reminded him, the second young master of the Su family. Su Muheo came back from abroad before the new year. Didn't you two go on a blind date? And you say you don't know him. Speaking of which, that blind date between Qi Qingru and Su Muheo, I happened to run into it. At the time, Su Mu and I came out of the restaurant private room side by side. I glared at Qi Qingru from a distance, and muttered to myself, how come I run into him everywhere I go, and he's with some handsome guy? It really made me uncomfortable. Only now do I realize I was jealous. So that was him on a blind date back then. And now he's pretending he doesn't know who the other person is. I immediately tried to break free from him. Qi Qingru said gently, Cheng, be good. Then, as if suddenly realizing something, he said, "You mean Su'er?" Su'er? I got even more jealous. "You're pretty close with him, huh? Calling him Su'er, and me by my full name?" Jie Qingrong said helplessly. "Everyone calls him that. I don't even know his full name. If I don't call him that, what should I call him?" Su Menghe has only been back from abroad for a few months. He's not familiar with the young masters and ladies of the Jing family's elite circle. I've only met Su Menghe once. I really didn't remember his name. I just know everyone calls him Su'er. As she spoke, Qi Qingru nuzzled her little face against my chest. Her voice carried a smile. "Besides, I call him Su'er. If that counts as being close. Do you want me to call you Sherde from now on?" I was left speechless by his retort. "Sherde really doesn't sound good. Forget it, I won't dwell on this." I asked him doubtfully. "So what did you say during that blind date with him?" Qi Qingru pouted. "Just meeting once counts as a blind date?" I sighed. "My grandmother did ask me to go meet him once, but I didn't know I was meeting him before I went to the restaurant. After I got there, I directly refused." This was pretty much what he told me in my past life. I frowned slightly. "And your family? They naturally respect my wishes. The Qi family doesn't need any arranged marriage anyway. My parents definitely prioritize what I want. Besides, this was arranged by my grandmother at the time. My grandmother and Sumo's grandmother were close friends, although they drifted apart later. But Sumo's grandmother was the one who brought it up. My grandmother did it as a favor to me, letting me go meet him. It was by no means a deliberate attempt at an arranged marriage." I fell into thought. But they really don't have any relationship. I breathed a sigh of relief. I just have to avoid Su Mu posting on Weibo. What should I do? Chi Qingru looked at me, slightly confused. I feel Lai Achin is getting weirder and weirder. Even though I'm sure he's Achin, something still feels off. He tilted his head and glanced at Mao, who was still curled up beside him. The look in his eyes towards me was still unfriendly. Chi Qingru pouted and looked at me. That was such a long time ago. You even glared at me back then. You think I didn't notice? Why are you suddenly bringing this up now? Her little face showed displeasure. Are you trying to reject me? So you made up this lame excuse to brush me off? Sure Chin, can't you keep up the act anymore? I looked at her, softening my voice. I'm not acting. Then prove it to me. Chi Qingru leaned closer to me. Achin, come a little closer. Acheng doesn't want to kiss me. Then I'll just kiss him, won't I? I don't want to hold back anymore. After all, he was the one who initiated the closeness. I was just about to say something. Chi Qingru slowly leaned towards me. Her nose was almost touching my cheek. My heart stirred. I feel like his gentleness now is different from his assertiveness in my past life. In my past life, there was hardly such gentle closeness. The cat that had been curled up beside Chi Qingru suddenly became restless again, rubbing and scratching against Chi Qingru's leg. Chi Qingru turned to look at the troublesome cat beside her. I also looked at him, but the moment I met his gaze, he instantly became fierce. Chi Qingru frowned and scolded softly. Mao Chio let out a meow. Sound pitiful. I felt a bit uneasy and said to him, I don't want to stay here today. Chi Qingru noticed something was wrong with me, took my hand and was about to leave. The cat saw we were leaving, also jumped down lightly from the floor, about to follow, but was stopped by a look from Chi Qingru. He meowed and lay down, looking at me pitifully. He really is my cat. That look is so similar to mine. Chi Qingru ignored him. When the door closed, I turned back to look at the cat in the living room. Mao Chio is so hostile towards me, and even stopped Chi Qingru and me from being intimate. Is it because Mao Chio can sense that I'm different from before? Chi Qingru led me back to his room. I was still muttering in his ear. I told you he was fierce. Chi Qingru looked at me and said, then what do we do? Not keep him anymore? He said as he walked towards the kitchen. I frowned upon hearing this. I've been raising him for a full 4 years. He was a birthday gift someone gave me. I didn't know who sent it back then. The card left at the door just said Happy Birthday. I asked around, but no one knew who sent it. Back then, my friends even made fun of the gift giver for giving such an ordinary-looking cat. They all forgot that I've loved cats since I was a child. The one I had when I was little, because when I was 11 and came to the Sure family, he was allergic to cat hair, so it was sent away. Now I know that Mao Chio was given to me by Chi Qingru. I can't bear to not keep him. But in this situation, maybe it really isn't suitable to keep him anymore. I watched Chi Qingru's back as she poured water. My eyes lit up. How about this? I'll lie here with you from now on. Let Song Yi help me take care of Mao Chio downstairs, until the day Mao Chio stops rejecting me. Then I'll move back. Chi Qingru held the water glass, turned around and looked at me slyly. Then why don't you just send the cat to Song Yi's place? I said seriously, talking nonsense. Mao Chio is attached to this place. If he changes places, he won't eat or sleep well. He'll get sick. Ji Qingru's lips curled slightly, handed me the glass in her hand. So you're saying you're not attached to places? I took the glass and took a sip. I'm not attached to places, I'm attached to people. I smiled brightly. Wherever you are, I can eat well and sleep well. I'll be perfectly well behaved. Chi Qingru's voice was gentle and pleasant. Sure Chin, I looked into his eyes. Chi Qingru's fair little hand touched my ear, and gave it a little tug. You seem like a different person. His words sounded like a joke, but my eyes flickered suddenly. My hand holding the glass even trembled involuntarily. I forced myself to stay calm. Huh? What? You have quite the imagination. I felt strangely flustered. I don't care. I'm staying here with you. If you kick me out, I'll sleep right outside your door. After saying that, I turned to go back to the living room. I was afraid she would see through me. If she finds out I'm different from before, will she start to distance herself from me too, like Mao Chio? But just as I turned, she wrapped her arms around my waist. Before I could react, she pressed her forehead against mine. No one knows. This was a scene he never dared to imagine before. Achin used to always keep his distance from me. His eyes were only on Himome. Every time I saw Achin happily following Himome, I wanted to ask him what he even liked about Himomo. I'm clearly not worse than her, right? I asked him. Once, when he was pushed away by Himome again, I asked him jokingly what he even liked about Himomo. You might as well lie me. I'm clearly not worse than Himomo. But he said he didn't feel that way about me. For so many years, Chi Qingru often thought, if Achin would give me just a 10,000th of the gentleness he shows Himome, I would be very happy too. And now, it's like a dream suddenly coming true. Achin is right in front of me, saying he loves me, saying he wants to be with me forever, saying he wants to actively get close to me. But just a few seconds later, a sound suddenly came from the door. Someone opened the door and came in. Before seeing the person, I heard their voice. Chingru, what's going on so late? Why do I need to come give you a rabies shot? The voice then stopped, followed by an oh my. The moment I heard the voice, I hugged Chingru and went into the kitchen. Song Wanwan stood at the entrance, watching the two people who had just been there disappear. She saw very clearly what Chingru was doing just now. Oh ho, that's different from just a friendly hug with Yi Hui Hui. I never thought I'd witness Chingru's scandal firsthand. Just then, Chingru walked out, gave Song Wanwan a dirty look. Song Wanwan said ambiguously, I didn't see anything. Oh. You two continue. I was never here. After saying that, she happily turned and left, and thoughtfully closed the door. Song Wanwan leaned against the door and let out a breath. This is way too exciting. The elevator dinged. Liang Changcheng walked out carrying a medical kit. He saw Song Wanwan and asked in confusion, what are you standing here for? Then he looked at the door behind her. Does Chingru really have a dog? Song Wanwan thought for a moment and nodded. She said meaningfully, not just a dog, but a cat too. They're fighting right now. Don't rush, let's wait until they're done before going in. Liang Qingqing's eyes widened upon hearing this. In the room, I walked out of the kitchen. Want to continue? I was speechless. Can you even continue now? Qingru's brows curved. Getting shy now? Back when you were in front of so many people, you didn't seem so reserved. That was different. That was out in the open. Now the two of us are at home and someone caught us. Don't you feel ashamed? Qingru really doesn't understand my way of thinking. He just found it a bit amusing. He took my hand and shook it. Aren't we openly being close now? Are we sneaking around? I said confidently in a soft voice. I think we really are sneaking around. Qingru was amused by my logic. So, Shurchen, you don't want to go public, right? As he spoke, the light in his eyes dimmed. Chen still doesn't plan to make our relationship public. Or is he still acting and lying to me? But I shook my head. No, it's you. After all, when I want to be close to her openly, she always pretends to be reserved and pushes me away. But in private, she's very proactive. Isn't that just not wanting to go public? I turned my head to look at him. See, you won't even let me get close when we're outside. Count for yourself. How many times did you reject me outside today? Qingru didn't expect me to turn the tables like that. In the morning, he showed impatience when he saw me. By evening, he changed his attitude and came over on his own. Would I dare to be proactive? Qingru was genuinely amused. He directly took my arm. Lifting his little face, he looked straight at me. Do you mean I should call them in now? And continue what we were doing in front of them, Oku? I waited for Qingru to nod. After speaking, he let go of me, and I was stunned. Turning around, he had already walked to the living room. He actually didn't believe it, that I would continue this in front of Song Wanwan. But I didn't stop him from opening the door either. After all, it's rude to keep people locked outside. I finished the water I had just picked up. Qingru had already opened the door. Come in. Liang Changcheng was clearly still out of it. He didn't understand what Song Wanwan meant by the mysterious cat and dog. He looked at the strangely acting Song Wanwan. Then, carrying the medical kit, he curiously poked his head in. Then he looked at Qingru. Wanwan said, your cat and dog are fighting. When did you get them? Then he saw me in the living room. He realized belatedly the meaning behind Song Wanwan's words. Song Wanwan, still outside, finally let out a laugh. Then she followed in. This time, she smiled especially brightly when she saw me. Hello, brother-in-law. All three of them looked at Song Wanwan at the same time. Liang Changcheng looked at him in disbelief, using his eyes to ask, you're calling him brother-in-law already? Song Wanwan exchanged glances with him. What do you know? Qingru was clearly serious. Song Wanwan won completely. Liang Changcheng also obediently called out, hello, brother-in-law. Honestly, being called that by them all of a sudden made me a bit awkward, but I still politely replied, hello. Qingru looked at me with a gentle expression, clearly very satisfied with how they addressed me. You two sit for a while. Saying this, he walked over to me. Su Wanwan didn't think much of it. She pulled Liang Changcheng to sit on the sofa. Liang Changcheng asked curiously, Sister Qingru, do you need a rabies vaccine? He suddenly tugged on Song Wanwan's hand. With a strange tone, he cleared his throat. What? Song Wanwan turned her head and saw the two of them pressed together. She immediately covered her mouth. Open the door, just to let us in and watch you two date, right? We're bright enough light bulbs, aren't we? The two of them stiffly turned to look at each other, clearly both shocked by Qingru's move. Still think I just don't want to go public? I shook my head vigorously. No, I think you're really open and generous. A hint of shyness flashed across Qingru's face. If that's not enough, we can also go to the living room, right in front of them. I suddenly covered her mouth, scary. This woman is still as wild as in the past life. Enough, really enough. Qingru and I looked at each other for 2 seconds. I felt something touch my palm. I instinctively pulled my hand back, completely admitting defeat. I think I'd better get the Vexan first. Qingru pulled me towards the bathroom. Take a shower first. You can't shower after getting the Vexan. I was stunned, but I don't. Qingru seemed to know what I was going to say. Toiletries, there are new ones in the bathroom. As for your change of clothes, I'll go downstairs and get them for you. She went into the bathroom to prepare things for me. You wash up first. I'll bring them up and hang them on the door for you. I nodded and reminded him again. Then help me bring up a few more clothes. Qingru smiled gently. Oku. After saying that, she turned and left, giving me space. When he returned to the living room, the two people sitting close on the sofa both looked at him strangely. Qingru paused. Looking back as usual, what are you looking at? Liang Chengcheng shook his head and smiled. Song Wanwan raised an eyebrow. TSK, Qingru, I didn't know you had this side to you. Qingru rarely felt shy in front of her friends. It's okay. When you find a boyfriend, you'll be the same. Su Wanwan pouted. I'm not the same as you, okay? Qingru walked out, her tone teasing. Aren't you different with that Mr. Jiang too? Well then, I won't tell you his news. Su Wanwan immediately got up from the sofa. She trotted over to Qingru and said coquettishly, Qingru, do you have news about Jiang Fen? Qingru said with a smile. Wanwan, aren't you different? Why do you want his news? I'm the same as you. Qingru, my dear Qingru. Tell me his news. Qingru had already walked to the door and stopped, looking at him meaningfully. Go look for him in Gangchang. Song Wanwan's expression softened. She said seriously, thank you, Qingru. After saying that, she left without a second's delay. Liang Chengcheng on the sofa was silent for a moment. He asked somewhat doubtfully, is that Mr. Jiang really in Gangchang? As soon as he arrived in Gangchang this afternoon, I received the news. But after saying that, he looked at Song Wanwan who had entered the elevator. I heard he went to Gangchang with his girlfriend. Liang Chengcheng frowned. Then what about Wanwan? Qingru's tone was calm. If she can win him back, that's her skill. If she can't, she has to face reality. After all, she was the one who drove him away in the first place. Can't blame anyone else. After saying that, he didn't bring it up again. He said to Liang Chengcheng, sit for a while. I'll go downstairs to get some things for Sher Chen. Liang Chengcheng sighed lightly. He nodded. Oh, go ahead. As soon as Qingru opened the door downstairs, the cat at home rushed over, meowing loudly, rubbing against his leg, acting cute. Qingru bent down and rubbed his head, asked softly, why are you so mean to A Cheng? The cat couldn't answer him. It just rubbed its head against his palm. Qingru sighed softly and patted his head. Acting cute with me won't work. I'll have someone come tomorrow to cut your nails. After saying that, she walked straight to the bedroom. The cat followed behind him. The layout upstairs and downstairs was the same. He easily found the master bedroom, pushed the door, turned on the light, and went straight into the walk-in closet. Qingru looked at the few scattered clothes in the closet. Her delicate eyebrows furrowed slightly. I've never seen Chen wear the same clothes before. The few times I've run into him this month, he seems to be wearing the same few outfits. Qingru picked out a set of pajamas for me. When she opened the drawer and saw the underwear, she blushed with shyness. She casually grabbed a few and threw them into a bag. Qingru inadvertently saw a small black velvet box. I've seen this box before. A few days ago, I was with Song Yi at the styling studio. At the time, I was asking Song Yi beside me if it was too simple. Too cheap, would he lie it? Song Yi rolled her eyes. TSK, no matter how expensive what you give him is, she might not even lie it. Besides, what kind of conditions are you in now? It's already good enough that you're thinking of giving her a gift. I sighed. That's true. Then I saw Qingru. I immediately turned my face away. Qingru didn't hear what I muttered, but she could probably guess. It probably wasn't anything good. Qingru knew who the thing in this box was for. An indescribable emotion drove her to pick up the box. Her fingers trembled slightly as she opened the lid. Inside the box lay an exquisite hair kip. Under the hair kip was a folded sticky note. Qingru bit her lip, carefully pulled out the sticky note. Momo, happy birthday. Qingru's heart sank to the bottom. Sure enough, even though she knew it all along, it still hurt unbearably now. If I remember correctly, Momo's birthday was 3 days ago. Why didn't Chen give the gift? Qingru closed her eyes. Sure Chen, why didn't you choose me? Were you hurt by Momo, and just using me as a replacement? Controlling the tremor in her fingertips, Qingru put the box back, packed up her things and turned to leave. When she returned to the bedroom, the sound of water in the bathroom hadn't stopped yet. Qingru hung the bag on the door, knocked on the door, and soon the water stopped. My clear voice came through. Qingru, is that you? Qingru spoke. Her voice carried an uncontrollable disappointment. I hung your clothes on the door. Get them yourself later, I replied. I'm almost done washing up, Chi Chingru said softly, no rush. She wanted to say something more, but in the end, she just lowered her eyes and turned to leave. Soon, I came out of the bathroom, sat down next to Chi Chingru, had Liang Chengcheng give me the rabies vaccine. Chi Chingru watched from the side, frowning. When the needle went into my arm, the slight sting made her frown slightly. Chi Chingru's eyes flickered. Liang Chengcheng couldn't stand it anymore. As a single person, he was sensitive enough to feel the awkward atmosphere. So after explaining the precautions and the next appointment time, he quickly said his goodbyes. I looked up at Chi Chingru, our eyes meeting. Chingru, what's wrong? I asked, confused. Chi Chingru's mood was off. It was fine before I went to take a shower. Chi Chingru didn't answer. I looked at him. What? He reached out and wrapped his arms around my neck. Leaning close to my ear, he asked softly, do you want to marry me? I was a bit incredulous. Marry? He was still close to my ear. Let's set the engagement now. Set the engagement now. Now means. I was a bit dazed. It means finalizing it now. Get the certificate tomorrow morning. Chi Chingru whispered in my ear. Achin, do you want to marry me? I suddenly felt a bit dazed. Married. Chingru had mentioned it many times in the past life too. At first, I was very cold to her. Later, when I became like that, I was even less willing. Later, Chingru stopped bringing it up. She just silently stayed by my side. But in the drawer of his study, I saw a custom-made pair of wedding diamond rings. I secretly picked them up and tried them on. They fit perfectly. My silence made Chi Chingru's breath catch. The air was so quiet you could clearly hear the heartbeat. His voice sounded a bit disappointed. Achin doesn't want to? Of course not. I'd be delighted. Chi Chingru finally dared to turn her eyes and meet mine. Chingru, I'm so happy. I spun her around in a circle. Chingru, I really like you. I want to marry you, really. Chi Chingru's heart tightened. If I hadn't known since childhood how much Achin hated me, if I hadn't just seen that hair clip that wasn't given away 2 days ago, I would really believe him, the big liar. Who said Achin's acting was bad? He acts very well. But even knowing it was a deception, Chi Chingru was willing to accept it in this moment. She pouted. Achin, remember what you said. If I find out you're lying to me, I couldn't help but ask, and then I'll cling to you and never leave your side. Stick to you every day. My heart pounded violently. Now she's really becoming more like the Chi Chingru I know. Just as Chi Chingru thought I would be scared by her words, I smiled brightly. Oh cool. I then asked curiously, but you said we'd set the engagement now. It's almost midnight now. How are we going to prepare? As long as Achin is willing, there's always time. Chi Chingru made a few phone calls. About an hour later, bags filled with various clothes and accessories filled the living room. He pouted apologetically. It's all because it's too late now. I'll have someone bring more over tomorrow. These are all custom made to your taste. Pick a set to try on for photos tomorrow. I didn't quite understand, just said, oh. Chi Chingru changed into a white dress in the room. I picked an outfit from those bags, a matching style to his. It looked just like couple outfits. The doorbell rang. Chi Chingru leaned in and gently kissed me. I looked at him with amusement. Go open the door. We'll have plenty of time after we're married. Chi Chingru nodded in agreement, turned around and walked over. When the door opened, it was the wedding planning and high-end boutique staff. After the staff came in, seeing us, their gossip fire burned brightly. Before coming, they were complaining, wondering who was making them work in the middle of the night, having to prepare for a wedding at this hour. The three of them couldn't help but guess, being in such a hurry to finalize the marriage. Could it be the online analysis? That Shurchin has something to hold over Chi Chingru? The next day, when registering at the Civil Affairs Bureau for photos, the staff clearly recognized us. Their eyes were full of gossip. The two of us sat side by side. Chi Chingru looked at me and suddenly said, wait. I looked at her confused. What's wrong? The staff member's heart was also in their throat. Here it comes. Here it comes. The young lady regrets it. Watching the drama lie is so exciting. Chi Chingru gently adjusted my tie. It's a bit crooked. Let me fix it for you. I smiled softly at the gentle woman in front of me. Is it okay now? Chi Chingru smiled and pecked me on the cheek. Cool. I turned my head to meet the staff's surprised and excited gaze. I smiled awkwardly. The staff member smiled back at me. So sweet. I'm shipping it. The online rumors can't be trusted. Chi Chingru's little face was slightly flushed. She sat back down, naturally took my arm, said to the photographer, cool, take it. The staff member's eyes lit up looking at the two in the frame. I saw these two on the trending topics today. I thought it was just a filtered photo. Now seeing their beauty in person. My old maiden heart. Soon after, 2 red booklets were handed to us. In that moment, Chi Chingru felt dazed. Achin is my husband. Her fingers trembled slightly as she stroked the booklet. She turned her head to look at me, seeing that I was also staring blankly at the marriage certificate in my hand. Chi Qingru bit her lip. Couldn't help but wonder, is Achin more het pie now? Or more annoyed? When leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, Chi Qingru gave the prepared gift bags to the staff. You're too kind, it's our job. Wishing Ms. Chi and Mr. Sure a het pie marriage. May you be a loving couple forever. Chi Qingru's expression softened even more. Thank you. Back at home, Chi Qingru saw me still looking down at the marriage certificate in my hand. What are you looking at? Achin isn't unhappy, is he? But I looked up happily at her. Qingru. Chi Qingru looked at me, stunned. I asked him eagerly, can I pot on Weibo? Chi Qingru was a bit confused. Weibo? I waved the marriage certificate in front of him. I want to pot it on Weibo to announce it. Is that oku? When Chi Qingru said we should get married, I thought of this. Isn't this the best solution? As long as I pot the marriage certificate first and announce the marriage, Su Mu's problem would be solved. Chi Qingru really didn't expect me to be willing to announce it. Sure, she sat down next to me. I suddenly frowned again. But I don't have a phone. My phone is with Song Yi. My Weibo Otsao has always been managed by the Tim. Chi Qingru's eyes curved. Then I'll pot it. She took a few photos of the marriage certificate, logged into Weibo, which she had never used before. It didn't take long for the trending topics to explode. No matter when, no matter the seasons, we will never be apart until our hair turns white. Attached with a picture of the two marriage certificates, everyone was chatting excitedly. Chi Qingru gave the most direct answer. I looked at the Weibo pot he made, my eyes flickering. I suddenly thought of something and said, your parents don't know we're married yet, do they? Chi Qingru chuckled softly. Husband. I instantly blushed and my heart raced. Chi Qingru laughed. You have time to think about that. Why not think about something else? I asked confused. Think about what? Chi Qingru leaned closer to me. You should think about whether we'll hang out in the living room tonight, or go back to our rooms and rest separately. I asked, puzzled. What's the difference between these two arrangements? Chi Qingru blinked. You decide. I thought for a moment. Naturally took her little hand. Then, Qingru, come rest with me. Chi Qingru looked at our intertwined hands. Achin, don't regret it. I looked at him confused. Why would I regret it? At night, Chi Qingru pulled up the covers, wrapped herself up without hesitation. I looked at him blankly. What are you doing? Chi Qingru said calmly, sleeping. How can I sleep without covering myself properly? I was even more confused. Aren't you going to rest with me? Chi Qingru reached out from under the covers, patted the spot next to her. Yeah, come on, sleep. I didn't understand the situation. Is that all? Chi Qingru looked into my eyes. What else? Did you have other plans? We're already married, she said in a coquettish voice. I know. There was a mischievous glint in her eyes. She leaned in and gently touched me. I didn't call you Achin. You're my husband now. Whether Achin truly loves me or not, he's completely mine now. I asked uncertainly. So you're sure you want to rest peacefully lie this on our wedding night? Chi Qingru blinked at me. Because I think Achin still needs time to accept and prepare. I don't need Achin's impulse. We're already married, so I'm not in a hurry. I can wait slowly. For Achin to truly fall in love with me. How was I supposed to know what he was thinking? With a mischievous grin, I don't need to prepare. Then I need to slowly get used to it, Achin. Give me some time, Oku. Alright, let's sleep. I turned off the light. The room went completely dark, leaving only the two of us. Shallow breathing sounds rose and fell. I thought I would have trouble sleeping all night, but smelling Chi Qingru's scent, I quickly fell into a deep sleep. Chi Qingru, on the other hand, listened to my breathing, wide awake. She was afraid to wake up, afraid that opening her eyes would reveal it was all just a beautiful dream. Just then, she heard me talking in my sleep. Himeng, I don't want to. Chi Qingru froze instantly. The burning emotions instantly turned cold. I woke up from my dream with a start. My whole body was drenched in cold sweat. My first reaction was to tremblingly touch my face. The scars weren't bumpy. My breathing slowly calmed down. In that moment, I almost thought the rebirth was just a dream. Wasn't it? I closed my eyes and rested for a long while. Only then did I open my eyes and look around. Chi Qingru wasn't there. I sat up and looked at the clock beside me. It was only 6:30. Why did she get up so early? I decided not to sleep anymore either. I threw off the covers, got out of bed, and pulled open the bedroom door. I saw Chi Qingru on the balcony outside the living room. She had her back to me. I walked over and hugged her from behind. Why are you up so early? The person I held stiffened slightly. After a few seconds, she turned around. Why don't you sleep a little longer? The woman wrapped her arms tightly around my waist. I looked at her pale face and asked, puzzled, did you sleep badly last night? Chi Qingru didn't answer. She looked up and met my eyes. And Achin, did he sleep well? I shook my head, feeling a bit frustrated. Not really. Qi Qingru bit her lip. Why? I rubbed my temples. I had a nightmare. Qi Qingru looked at me and asked softly, what nightmare? I frowned deeply. I don't know how to say it. I dreamed of coming home that day in my past life. Himome was already waiting for me at home. She started arguing with me as soon as I walked in. I said he was the one who handed me that drink, but he said it was impossible. Himome threw things at me, and I don't even want to think about it. I held Qi Qingru's hand and tightened my grip instinctively. Qi Qingru patted my back to comfort me. It's nothing, just a nightmare. But Qi Qingru wasn't easily fooled. She felt my stiffness. Now she was replaying what I said in the dream. My tone seemed to carry intense unease. But back then, she was blinded by jealousy and bitterness. She didn't think much of it. Qi Qingru called me Achin, her voice trembling. She asked me, her voice a little hoarse, did Himame do something bad to you? I didn't understand what she meant. Qi Qingru raised her hand and gently touched my face. Did Emo do anything to you? Her words reminded me of my past life again. I suddenly couldn't look at her. No, that was a lifetime ago. And in that life, he got what he deserved. As for now, Himome has no chance left. Qi Qingru's small face was full of displeasure. Afraid I'd see it, she took a deep breath, suppressing her emotions. It's fine. Qi Qingru buried her head in my chest. After a while, she suddenly asked me, the Shi family has a banquet today. Do you want to go, Chen? This topic instantly shifted my focus. The celebration party for Shi Bai? I don't really want to go. I don't want to see the Shi family. They mean less to me than strangers. Qi Qingru looked up at me. If you want to go, I'll take you. I asked, puzzled. What for? Qi Qingru smiled a little arrogantly. To watch the show, of course. I laughed boldly. Sounds good. Actually, I figured the Shi family must have looked for me by now. But my phone wasn't with me. And the Shi family wouldn't dare come to Qingru's place to cause trouble. So I've been able to stay quiet until now. No one bothered you. But we'll have to meet them sooner or later. The banquet is at noon, so we still have plenty of time. We had breakfast. Qi Qingru went to the study. The trending topics were all over the place. Her phone was practically blowing up, but she turned it off and ignored it. When she turned it back on, she called her parents, who were traveling the world. Then she replied to a few friends. I went back to the room for a nap. When I woke up, I changed into the clothes Qi Qingru had sent over, a custom suit. The stylist waiting nearby did my hair. Qi Qingru sat nearby, holding her phone. She kept typing. I didn't know what she was doing. After getting ready, I stood up and asked, Qingru, isn't your husband handsome? Qi Qingru looked up at the sound. She put her phone away. She stood up and came over to me. She smiled and nodded. Very handsome. Then she went to change into a matching custom evening gown. Makeup and styling were done. I stared at her, my eyes burning. I couldn't help but lean in and gently kissed her cheek. My Qingru is so beautiful. We stood together. Qi Qingru suddenly regretted it a little. What if I don't want such a handsome Achin to be seen by Himome? No, I should take Achin out to show him off. Everyone else would be so jealous. Achin is my husband. The stylists nearby squealed like groundhogs. So sweet, such a perfect met. Qingru's eyes curved even more at that. She looked up at me. Achin, did you hear that? Everyone thinks we're the best met. I raised my hand and gently ruffled her hair. It was a tenderness and doting I'd never shown anyone before. Only for you. I took her hand and held it tight. At that moment, I suddenly broke free from all my past shackles. Before, I endured everything and hid my abilities. I didn't want to stand out, so I kept a low profile. I avoided the spotlight, but now I just want to be bold. I want to be with my girl, and declare this lop to the world. Qingru's cheeks flushed at my straightforward affection. Then let's go out now. I want everyone to see that my husband is the best. I nodded and let her lead me out of the living room. As soon as we stepped out the door, we ran straight into Himome, who was hiding around the corner of the hallway, watching secretly. She was dressed in an exquisite dress. Her makeup was deliberately perfect, but her eyes were glued to me, filled with resentment and obsession. Before, she had schemed at every turn, secretly stirring up trouble between Qingru and me, spreading rumors and maliciously slandering Qingru. She even secretly set traps, trying to drive us apart, trying to force her way into my life and take everything that belonged to Qingru. How dare she still show up in front of us? Seeing Qingru and me holding hands tightly, with such gentle expressions, Himame's face instantly turned pale. The last bit of hope in her eyes shattered completely, replaced by intense jealousy and resentment. She stepped forward. Brother A Chang, are you really going to be with him? What do I lack compared to him? I've done so much for you. Why have you never seen me? Before I could speak, Cheng is my husband. His heart has only ever belonged to me. All your scheming and obsession were wrong from the very start. I reached out and pulled Qingru back into my arms. My eyes instantly lost their tenderness and turned ice cold. What you did wasn't devotion. It was evil. I looked at Himome, my words clear and sharp, spreading rumors about Qingru, secretly plotting against her, stirring up trouble between us, even bribing others to maliciously slander our relationship. I know about every single thing you did. I never pursued it before, because I didn't want Qingru to be tainted by filth, but that doesn't mean I condone your malice. Himome's face turned completely ashen. She tried to argue, but was interrupted by staff who arrived just then. The people she had bribed and used to spread rumors all came forward and confessed. The truth was ironclad. All her schemes were completely exposed. The image she had carefully crafted collapsed. Her reputation was ruined. The people who once clung to her all scattered. For her selfish scheming and malicious calculations, she paid a heavy price, ending up abandoned by everyone, with no one to pity her. I looked down at Qingru in my arms. There, the problem is solved. No one can bother us anymore. Qingru looked up at me. Chen, there won't be any more of these troubles from now on, right? Her eyes sparkled like stars. I answered solemnly, right. From now on, only peace and happiness remain. A few days later, our wedding arrived as planned. The wedding venue was a sea of flowers. The warm sun shone over the entire place, gentle and grand. Everyone who had ever been kind to us and sincerely wished us well, all showed up. Friends who had silently supported us and helped us. Elders who had gently witnessed our journey. And strangers we had helped, who were grateful. Everyone's face was filled with genuine smiles, their eyes full of blessings. I stood in a sharp suit, at the end of the sea of flowers, my eyes burning, quietly waiting for my bride. When Qingru, in her white wedding dress, walked slowly toward me, my world was completely filled with tenderness. Everything else faded into the background. She was the only light. She walked toward me step by step, her eyes holding starlight and full of love. I stepped forward and took her hand. My voice was gentle but firm. Before, I faced the storms alone. I saw the world's cruelty and tasted life's coldness. I thought the rest of my life would be plain and lonely. Until I met you. You taught me to be gentle. You gave me someone to care about. You made me understand what devotion and fulfillment mean. Today, I take you as my wife. From now on, year after year, day and night, I will protect you. I will cherish you and spoil you for life. I will never leave you. Never let you down, Qingru. Her eyes reddened slightly. For the rest of my life, I will only be with Chen. Year after year, side by side. The audience erupted in applause. Blessings rose and fell, warm and passionate. I raised my hand and put the ring on Qingru's finger, and held my bride tightly. The warm sun brushed our faces. Flowers bloomed. The whole venue was filled with blessings. All the beauty in the world came rushing in. The storms had passed. Everything was going well. Qingru and I will be together for life. Year after year,